Return merchandise authorizations, or RMAs, in SAP Business One can be created through the functionality of the return request document. Creating the return request document does not create any inventory transactions and acts as a placeholder prior to initiating the actual return or credit. The return request can be used when the customer wants to service, replace, credit, or fully return the item. This video will go through the process of using the return request to begin the process of issuing a credit to the customer for a missing or defective item that will not be returned. Let's begin by navigating to Sales, Return Requests to create a new return request. Sometimes an item is defective or missing, and instead of replacing the item, the customer would just like to receive a credit for the defective or missing item. In the return request window, you can enter in the customer the RMAs being created for. Once you enter in the customer, you have the ability to copy the information for the return request from either an open delivery or open AR invoice. You can also use the Copy To function on either the delivery or AR invoice to copy the information over to a return request as well. For this example, we will copy the information from an AR invoice since we will only be issuing a credit to the customer. Press the Copy From button at the bottom and select AR Invoice. Once the list of AR invoices appears, you can select the AR invoice you want to create the return request for. This will open the Draw Document wizard. If you are dealing with exchange rates, you can adjust the information accordingly. Since we are not dealing with exchange rates, we can simply leave the screen as is and press Finish. Towards the top right of the screen, in the Return Date field, is where you can specify the date you expect the items to be returned. But since the item will not be returned for the customer to receive the credit, you can leave the date as is. You can always come back to the return request document and update this date. If you are issuing the credit to the customer without having the customer send the item back, you can select the Without Quantity Posting checkbox. If this checkbox is checked, the no inventory movement will occur when the AR credit memo is created. Since you are not requiring the customer to send back the item, you will need to check this checkbox. Note, you cannot check this checkbox if the return request was copied from a delivery, and you can only copy return requests with the Without Quantity Posting checkbox checked to an AR credit memo. If you need to remove some items from the return request, you have that ability as well if not all the items are being returned or credited. In the Return Reason field, you can select from the drop-down the reason why the item is being returned or credited. If the reason you need does not appear in the drop-down list, you can select Define New at the bottom to define additional return reasons. Next, in the Return Action field, you can specify the action that will be taken for the item in question. If you do not see the return action you need in this list, you can press the Define New option at the bottom to add additional options to the list. Once you have updated all the information you need in the document, you can proceed to add the return request. When you are ready to submit the credit to the customer, you can copy the return request over to an AR credit memo. In the AR credit memo window, you will not be able to deselect the Without Quantity Posting checkbox. So if the customer does end up sending back the item, you will need to go back to the return request and deselect the Without Quantity Posting checkbox prior to copying it over to an AR credit memo. Once you are satisfied with all the information on the AR credit memo, you can add the document. To show that no inventory transactions were made, you can right-click the background and select Journal Entry. As you can see, only the customer account and the corresponding tax and revenue accounts were affected. No inventory or cost of goods sold accounts were transacted since the Without Quantity Posting checkbox was checked. Using a return request in SAP Business One can be useful for setting up the process for crediting the customer for a missing or defective item prior to adding the AR credit memo. Join us as we help you learn more about what SAP Business One has to offer by clicking the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss a new video. As an SAP Gold partner, LBSi can help you take full advantage of everything the system has to offer. To get in contact with us, Visit our website at www.lbsi.com and navigate to the contact link. You can also email us at sales@lbsi.com for sales-related inquiries, or SAP support at lbsi.com if you're an existing client in need of support assistance.